Hey folks, welcome back once again to Indaba Africa. This is Chris coming to you live from central Pennsylvania on a lovely, lovely Sunday afternoon, Leka Sunday. There you go. So welcome to everyone around the world, where you find yourself. Maybe you're in the Emerald Isle of Ireland, down there in Killarney in the Gaeltacht, maybe up by Galway, perhaps over by the River Liffey, enjoying a bit of Guinness on a Sunday in Dublin. Or maybe you're in the United Kingdom, Isle of Man. Anybody out there with any tailless cats? Just checking. Any folks in Europe hanging out there? Out in Asia, we know folks in Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, even China. Andre Jacobs pops in from China, New Zealand, Australia. We forgive the Kiwis. It's not their fault that they have the All Blacks. They can overcome that disadvantage. But welcome to the Kiwis. And folks across Africa, the warm heart of Africa, Malawi, welcome to you. Folks in Botswana, once again, Otsi Hilijang, Dumela, Botswana. And to folks in Namibia, Navi Gates. And in South Africa, Sawubona, South Africa, Hoyadag. How is it going in South Africa, folks? Well, I'm excited today. We had a little abortive thing the other day because this gentleman is just incredibly busy, and we'll talk about that. But in my continuing series for the Rugby Ascendant segment, yet another Springbok. Of course, you've seen Andre Sneeman on here previously, and you saw Flock Cilliers on here. And now I'm going to welcome in my current guest. We're going to talk about the Southern Kings, about the Springboks, about rugby in general. But we're also going to talk about this wonderful initiative that he started called Care for Kings. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome in my guest now. It's Braam van Straaten, Springbok number 671. Braam, how are you?
Chris, thank you. I'm very well. A little bit overworked and underpaid at the moment, but it's going fantastically. Yeah, there's so many people that are helping. So I'm so humbled by all the people that gets our story out there. So yeah, it's been an incredible ride. Eh?
That's awesome. So before we even start talking about your career and everything, let's just get the we got a big elephant on the table right here. That's what's happened. So on the 19th of September, the Southern Kings franchise became insolvent, basically bankrupt. I mean, not even business rescue, which is the South African term for trying to save it. So the Kings are gone. I'm sure people are disappointed about that. But when that happened, of course, they didn't make payroll. And so staff and players were left in a lurch without any salaries. Is that correct?
Yes, you're 100% right about that, Chris. What happened is, as you said, on the 19th, we heard that, we're liquidating the company, and nobody's getting paid for that month, and it won't get paid for the rest of your contract. So that was quite a shock. Carpet pulled out of our feet, out under our feet. So it was really a tough time. And then I just said, I'm a big guy. I'm really passionate about the boys that I coach and about the staff that I work with. And I just said, we can't leave it here because it wasn't our fault. It wasn't our baby. This thing that happened. And I said, do you know what? I'm gonna start something. I did a little video and I posted on Instagram and all my social media platforms. And a very good friend of mine saw it on Facebook, and he said, we can't leave these guys hanging. We have to make sure that we look after them. And that's been my drive. Is I've got a saying that I say, we don't leave anybody behind enemy lines. And that's a rugby ethos thing. So, and that's why I started Care for Kings. I'm getting goosebumps all over my body because I'm really passionate about this. And hopefully we can really make a difference in these boys' lives. Eh?
No, that's awesome. But of course, you're preaching to the converted there when you talk about not leaving anyone behind the line. In the Army, of course, we don't leave our wounded or our dead, our fallen comrades on the battlefield. So same with the Marines. So you're definitely preaching to a crowd. But I should tell you, Braam, because you haven't been on my channel before, all of my live streams, I typically or normally wear a rugby jersey. And so I'm wearing, I took one of my older ones, but not quite one as old as when you wore the green and gold. Well, there you go.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
When I wore the sponsor was that those days it was Castle Lager, so it was quite a unique jersey. It was only for a very short space of time, and I've still got one hanging in my house downstairs.
Well, that's one I don't have because I wasn't in South Africa around that time. Actually, I traveled there, but I couldn't find a jersey at the time. But no, what I was going to say is that I did a video in July after Sia Khaleesi made some comments, and all these people were running around cutting up their Springbok jerseys. And I made the video and said, cutting up your Springbok jersey with like a question mark there. And I stood in front of my camera, just an impromptu video, and I lined up my Springbok jerseys, not all of them, but about 30 of them. And I talked about how I disagreed about cutting up your jerseys as I showed each of my jerseys and set it on the side. And a lot of people attacked me for cutting up my jerseys. I'm like, why don't you watch the video? I didn't cut up any of the jerseys. That was my point. I'm not cutting up my Springbok jerseys because of someone else's actions. But yeah, I have quite a collection of them, as I imagine you probably do over the years yourself. So let's talk a little bit more about this initiative, okay? The auction was Friday and Saturday, and how did it go?
Wow, Chris, we got to, it was incredible, man. There was such a big hype. We got some really incredible people on board. Dotry Media, my big friend Rudy Ferreira that runs that up with him, Jana Grobelaar, which is from Find It. And then there was a lady called Lauren Terras, that from Terras Communications. Everybody came on board that wanted to help us. And all of a sudden, everything just, it was a ripple effect. And all of a sudden it became a wave, and then it became a tsunami, and everything. Oh man, it was wonderful. Nearly all the items that we had, what was 62 items, was sold on the auction, and we'll probably have a little bit more detail about it tomorrow morning when we do our feedback session on Zoom.
Now, you also, I see, based on the video I saw from one of the sites there, is that you donated your own Springbok blazer. I mean, that's like a prized, coveted possession. That's really awesome of you to do that.
Chris, yes, the reason why I did that, because what I stand for is the truth, integrity, and hope. That's what I stand for, and it's much bigger than a Springbok jersey, my friend. You know that, and for me that was why I did it. For me, being able to look people in the eye and care for them, because we're all human. We love what we do. And the people that I did it with was my family for a year. So my family is up north in Bloemfontein, where they stay, and I was down in Port Elizabeth. So I didn't have a family down there, but those boys and the staff, everybody greeted me every day. They were the reason why I got up in the morning, and for me that is as good as family. So that's why I did it.
That's pretty awesome. Now I'm gonna just for a second here. I promised I'd do this, and so I'm gonna embarrass myself. Ik praat niet Afrikaans nie, but I do understand it. So my pronunciation is not very good. So I've been asked to sing a song, and I'm a horrific singer. And throw in on top of that, G's in Afrikaans. So I'll do my best here. Let me see if I can do this. You ready for this? I'm trying not to embarrass myself. Hoogtien die Mahalisbergen, waar ons goeie ondien, praihog bo alma mater die Höchstschule. Wunderboom. Susreus boom wait. Wundersan sal ons tot hooks. I'm not singing. Und sal vorwärts han in ons streben. Met ons oi gerig nabo. In ons handel, in ons waderhandel dra ons ja norm met In ons harte dra, that I know. Ons jo lezer goeie en dien. That was horrible, I'm sure.
Look at this. I'm just goosebumps all over into my hair. No, that's amazing. Yeah, my alma mater, Wonderboom High School. Oh man, I haven't been back there for quite some time. So when you say that, all that emotion, all the feelings, thinking of all my mates, my friends, the people that I really cared about for a very long time, because we were very lucky in those days. We were in Mayville Primary School, and that's in Pretoria, in the Moot area, close to Pretoria. And then all of us, probably 50, 60 of us, went to Wonderboom Hoërskool, and it was amazing. So we had a real compassion between each other, and it was amazing to feel the energy that the boys brought on every game day. So yeah, when you started saying that, I'm getting emotional, man. It was such a wonderful time of my life.
Well, that's brilliant. No, that was a personal request from a gentleman who uses uses a made-up name. It's the opposite of Ronaldo Rose, who's a South African YouTuber, and he calls himself Ginaldo Rose. So Ginaldo Rose. So he's just apparently he's also an alma mater. That's his alma mater as well. So he wanted me to sing that. Yeah, no, listen, I mean, if I hear the songs, I listen to Afrikaans music, I can do a lot better. I mean, I can do Bok van Blerk pretty well, Tussen bossen en bomen. Anyway. De la re, saya di burak. Anyway, so those I can do a lot better, but I never heard your alma mater, so I try not to butcher it, and if I was terrible, my apologies.
It was brilliant. I tell you now, I always say, I'm a very passionate guy. I'm a defense coach, but also a kicking coach. And sometimes when I'm on the kicking, when I do these kicking clinics and working with youngsters, when I hear the sound, I don't have to look. I don't have to look at the ball. When I hear the sound, my whole body just goes goosebumps, and it's amazing. So, like I said, I'm very passionate about the sport of rugby itself, but I'm very passionate about the people in the sport. And for me, it is really important that we look after the game. And like I said, there's a group of people in our game that are not living towards that ethos, and that for me is not part of what we are standing for. For me, the big thing is rugby has given me so much in my life. I tell you now, I want to give back to the game as long as I can, for as much as I can. So hopefully these guys and what happened to the Kings, I want to make sure that this never happens again, Chris, because the game itself is such a wonderful piece of history, but it's part of us, man. I grew up with it. I think I was born with a rugby ball in my hands, if I'm not mistaken. But it's really special. It's a special game. It's something that we can't lose within the game. Is that ethos?
Absolutely. Well, I don't know that you're headed there, but if you're in the mood to bash Saru, I'm all on board. I bash Saru all the time. I'm very unhappy with the South African Rugby Union for so many reasons. Their stupid rule a couple of years ago that you had to have 30 test matches, or you had to have 30 matches. Yeah, 30 test matches if you were playing abroad, which was one of the dumbest things ever. You know, the Springboks are one of the few clubs that actually doesn't put foreign nationals on their team. They're all South African, with the exception, of course, Tende Mtawira, but he became a South African. But everyone's a South African. You look at the All Blacks; they're not Kiwis. They're Fijians and Samoans. Half the team comes from there. Whoops, we got Braam's camera froze. Braam, are you there? Well, it's freezing up again.
It was just somebody that's calling me on my phone, and I use my phone as a modem. Sorry, man.
No, that's all right. Yeah, they ate up your data. So, no, what I was saying is, you know, the Springboks, unlike the All Blacks, they actually put citizens, you know, South African citizens on their team. The All Blacks are full of Fijians and Samoans. I mean, you know, it's a kaleidoscope, an alphabet soup of, you know, Pacific Island names and not Maori and not Anglo names. So, anyway, but no, I have a lot of disdain for Saru and very angry with them. But you don't have to get into that. But I agree with you. The way the Kings were done, and I don't know if you're saying by Saru, but in general, but also the Cheetahs. This is reprehensible. Both clubs were dumped out of Super Rugby unceremoniously. And now the Kings, not to pick on the Kings, but they can make a fair argument. The Kings didn't have much success, so you know it's a financial game. I get that. So there was some legitimacy to that argument. But the Cheetahs were a middling to sometimes high-performing team. You know, they're never terrible. And both teams went to Pro 14, which I thought was brilliant. I really liked them in Pro 14. I'm sure the travel was a challenge at times, but I like that. And now they're dumped out of Pro 14. Why? Because we have to make room for the Stormers. By the way, I'm a Stormers fan up front. You need to know that. Because I make room for the Stormers, Bulls, and maybe the Lions or the Sharks. This is nonsense.
I do agree with you, Chris. For me, yeah, they got the short end of the stick here, man. And they're such a this. I tell you now, they've got a very, very strong squad. You know what I really hope happens? I hope they win this extended, what do you call it, Super Rugby Unlock or the Carry Cup. I really do hope they win it, because just to show people that why are they always pulling the last straw? And that's not right, eh? And like you said, there's some people on top that are doing that, and that's not right. It doesn't matter how you look at it. There's a right and a wrong, and this is wrong.
No, absolutely. It's just flat out wrong, and it's really sad to see any business go under. But it's professional sports franchise, especially disappointing because, you know, fan is short in English for fanatic, and that's what fans are. They're fanatics. I mean, look at me. I've got 80 or 100 rugby jerseys from all over the world, and I go everywhere for rugby. You know, it's people can be fanatics. It's just such a brilliant game, but it's really sad to see. And like I said, I was never a fan of the Kings. That's nothing against them. It wasn't my but I've also never been Nelson Mandela Bay or Port Elizabeth. I've never been there. So I've been all the other places where I've been to teams. I've been into Cheetahs and Bloemfontein, and then of course Loftus and, you know, Cape Town and things. So, but I've always been a Stormers fan. So, but it was difficult and was disturbing to see what happened with both those clubs. So now it's gone, and but it's not just this. I mean, people don't know all the dirty laundry, but there's some dirty laundry out there too. And you don't have to air any of this whether you know it or not. But there's a lot been going on behind the scenes with professional rugby in the Eastern Cape, where Saru has not been a particularly strong supporter and helper in making it come to fruition and survive.
Chris, I do agree with you there. I think what happened with us and the way it happened, they thought that they just going to, their timing was actually quite good. Give them a bit of credit there.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, they tried to just do it, get it done,
Mm-hmm.
get it away, because it was a bit of a problem for them for over a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
So they just said, cut it off, get it sorted, and put a bit of smoke over it so that nobody actually stands up to it. And I just said, you know what? I'm an honest guy. I live my life in that manner, and I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to make sure that people know about this. But for me, that is that is water under the bridge. We need to focus on how we can assist these guys, how we can help them for the next couple of months, just to get back on their feet. And that's my drive and my focus and it doesn't matter how long it takes. And hopefully, out of the Care for Kings, there's something bigger that happens. There's something that'll support the game for a very long time. And hopefully I can get that done. If I can get it done, it will make me a very proud man, I tell you now.
No, it really would be awesome. It's great that you're able to get this thing started. And honestly, I tell you, I wanted to sign up for the auction, but I've been dealing with South African customs by shipping things to and from South Africa of late. And it's been a very dodgy game of late ever since Corona. I shipped something to folks in South Africa in the first week of September, express, $300 to ship it there. It's still sitting in customs in Cape Town. Yeah. So I did want to go on a bid for things, but I didn't know you personally. If I bid on it, I said, hold on to it till I come to South Africa and I'll collect it. But I would like to have gotten some of this stuff. But maybe if somebody's got a box of those Lions jerseys hidden somewhere, if you put them up for sale, maybe I can dig one of those out at some point. Not Lions jersey. I'm sorry, Kings. I said Lions. No, I don't want a Lions jersey.
I do believe we can definitely do something like that. I'm coming over, like I said before we had just had a chat before the show, and I'm coming over to Bermuda. I'll grab one of those and put it in my bag. And if you give me your address, we'll make sure that it gets to you.
Oh, that's brilliant. I wasn't fishing for a jersey, but it's extra large, by the way. But that'd be awesome. Now, Carl's telling me that...
Chris,
sorry?
Chris, sorry, just there. The new jerseys are very tight fit, so the extra large is also going to be tight, eh?
Double X.
I'm just joking. I'm just pulling your leg.
So, I got those pecs going here, and it's got those guns, so... I'm not a big fan of those tight jerseys. They're okay sometimes. I mean, but if you're playing, they're great because people can't grasp them. The loose ones are easy to grab. But I was always on the left wing, and I was usually faster than everybody except Brian Habana and that cheetah. So, I mean, I didn't get caught very often. Now, Carl's telling me the Stormers are the wrong team. It's come a little east, pass by the Kings, check out how they're doing, and then end up in Durban by the Sharks. Yeah, been to the Sharks games. They're okay, but when Bismarck Duplessis left the squad, I lost interest. Sorry, that was when I followed the Sharks.
Yeah, the Sharks is close to my heart because I coached there for 2 years, but I'm also a Stormers boy. Hey, Cape Town, I had an awesome time there. 3 years, won the Currie Cup twice. Became a Bok just before I went there with the Falcons up north. But that was special. Eh? What an incredible team we played in that 99, 2000, 2001. Really special team. It was so much fun, and those boys are still my mates. We talk every week. I talk to some of them. So it was a really special time in my life, and pity. I always say I was wondering why they didn't give me a little bit piece of Table Mountain. But it was good. It was good.
No, I got you. So you've played rugby for a long time, but let's just jump in because I want to get in the Springbok portion. We'll jump around a little bit here. No structure to this conversation, just kind of like we're sitting around at a braai having a beer. So that's how we'll treat this. But you got the call up to the Springboks. What was that like? I mean, that you had to be excited when you got that call. It was
actually an incredible story to tell. I've told it to my children.
Then please tell it.
It's unbelievable. So what happened is I was sponsored a car, and then the company that sponsored me the car went under, and I was stuck with this car with a massive payment, and I couldn't afford it. So I was sitting at the bank manager in Pretoria, trying to organize a loan so I can pay off this car at some stage, and I was sitting there, my phone rang, I looked at my phone, I go, sorry, can I just quickly take this? I don't want to be rude. Answer the phone, hello, Braam speaking. He said, hello, Braam, Nick Mallet on this side. Can you come to Cape Town? Franco Smith has pulled his hamstring. We want you to be in the box squad. I nearly fell over. I said to the guy, wait, I'm not gonna take this. Straight home, packed straight to the airport, straight to Cape Town, and that's how I knew I became a Springbok. So it was really, really, really special. I guess goosebumps, and I just trying to phantom all the memories and how it felt. It was something really, really, really special.
No, I would have to say that, with some of those calls, you'd be like, am I being punked? Is this really who? But with Nick Mallett's voice, there was no mistaking it was Nick Mallett.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he's got that very distinct voice. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. I can only imagine. I never played professional sports, but I played sports my entire life. I played baseball, basketball, and rugby later on, many things. But I would have been awesome. Would have been awesome to get that call up to us. It just would have been something else, I can imagine. So you played 21 tests with the Bucks during your career.
Yes, 21 tests, wonderful. I can still remember, nearly all of them. Scored 221 points, so it's easy to remember.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, what was quite interesting, and this is, I don't like to tell it, but for me, what I'm really proud of is my kicking record in test matches. I kicked at 89.9%, so 90% in test matches. That was probably the thing that I worked really hard, that I was known for, to be very accurate. That it was a special time of my life. I tell you now, thinking back of those days, what an honor to be able to represent your country with the mates that you've learned to know, and it was just a really special time. The fans were brilliant. Like I said, it was something really special with that Springbok. It's interesting what Springboks gives you. It doesn't just give you that time that you play, but everybody now says Braam van Straaten Springbok, and all of a sudden people listen to what you have to say because that tags on your. So being a Springbok then was really incredible. But now people really value what you say, and they take you into context in a good way. So it's got a longevity which is fantastic.
Well, it's a small fraternity. I mean, we just, in the entire history of the Springboks, we're not talking about a lot of people who've actually put that jersey on. I mean, it's what's the number here? I actually had it off my head, but I have to look real quick just to take a look again real quick. We're up to, if we hit 1,000 yet, yeah, I think we're close to 1,000. Yeah, we're over 1,000. No, 915. Only 915 South Africans have ever worn that jersey. That's unbelievable over a century. And a lot of them have been since the professional era. I mean, the numbers climbed a bit, but because there's a lot more test matches now. But still, that's pretty amazing stuff. Now, you played with some names that people might recognize: Robbie Fleck, Rassie Erasmus. I think you played with as well. Is that true?
Yes, I did. I played with Joost as well, with Gary Teichmann. I was on the bench with Henry Honeyball, which was an incredible player. Then there was Percy Montgomery had played 100 tests. John Smith was a youngster in the squad as well. Corne Krieger was one of the hard men. Mark Andrews, those boys. Andre Venter. They were incredible people. So I really, really enjoyed my time with them. It was a special time of my life.
And at that time, one of the guys I actually enjoy as a broadcaster, Owen Nkumani, was popped on the squad briefly there too. I don't know if you got a chance to play with him any time.
Yes, he was with us. I think he played. I'm not sure, but I think he played one test. But we played in the midweek side when we went on tour, and we had a special side. I don't think we lost a game on 3 consecutive tours, which was fantastic. But yeah, Owen is a really good guy. He's such a passionate guy. He loves the game, and a really, really a good friend of mine.
Now, Ronald Khan said that I remember Braam scoring that try against the Auckland Blues in '99 when he fooled them all. Instead of kicking, he tapped and ran for it. It was priceless. It's funny that Ronald mentions that, because actually I showed that same video clip earlier this week when I said you're going to come on. And I had seen that before, and then I just remember watching. I was like, this is just brilliant. So well done. It's quite a memorable try, and none of us scored it. You did.
It was very interesting. Looking back at that, I can still remember the conversation me and Peter Rousseau had. He said to me, "They look where they're standing. Look where they're standing." So I said to the referee, "I'm not going for post. I'm not going for post." And I was so scared because I wasn't the quickest guy. If I tap it and they took me out in the corner, it would have been quite problematic. I would have felt it, but it was such a sneaky little try, and a lot of people remembers that try. Probably one of the most, one of my tries. I didn't score a lot, but that was one that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, no doubt. I think a lot of us will. I think it's up there with one of the neatest and most interesting tries in Springbok history. It was really really awesome. So, Ginaldo Rose, the one asked me to serenade you with your alma mater song, said, "What was your most memorable moment when you played for the Bucks? Do you have a very special moment that stands out above the others? Sometimes that isn't the case. Sometimes it is."
I think just thinking about back to my when I was a youngster, how I had the dream and wanted to play for the Boks. And for me, the biggest thing was to face the haka. I don't know why. It was just something really special. I faced the haka in South Africa. I faced it in New Zealand. It is something incredibly special. And then we had the opportunity. I played in a number of tests. I think one of my best test matches I played was against Australia in Pretoria, but also the test match that we won at Ellis Park against the All Blacks. I think the score was 46-42. What an incredible test match. I think Rory Fleck scored 3 tries in that test match, if I'm not mistaken. So it was something special. Facing the haka, it was something I wanted to do. I became really good mates with John Olomu when I played for the Barbars as well. Played 7 tests for them. He was a special man, a legend in his own lifetime, but just such a soft nature and what a guy. I really became really good mates with him.
I didn't realize you played for the Barbarians. Somehow I missed that from your career. 7 test matches too. That's pretty good. A lot of people these days do 1 and done. 7's awesome. That has to be a pretty cool experience too, because you bring all this talent together and you just throw them together short notice, and you get out there and you play these matches. And the Barbarians, they hold their own a lot of the time.
I tell you, Chris, what is incredible about the Barbars, you play with these guys from different countries that you always play against. And I became really good mates with guys like Timmy Horan, Jason Little. And it was such an incredible time for us. Ian Jones, that was, and those, I tell you now, looking back at those properties, that's the way rugby should be. You get it there. You don't really train. You play a bit of touch rugby. You eat. You stay in the best hotels. You eat the best food. And all of a sudden, you go out there on a Saturday and throw a couple of balls around, and you win the games. I remember one specific one, and one of the jerseys that I donated for the auction was a jersey of the Barbarians, which we played in Cardiff against Wales. We were down 26-6 at halftime, and we got back into the game, and Frederick Lombard scored in the last minute. He was the only uncapped player for the Barbars, scored in the right-hand corner, and I had to convert to win it. I think 40-38, and I got the conversion, which was unbelievable. So my Barbar, just the memories of the Barbars, the people that I met, just the ethos around it was absolutely incredible. That's the way rugby should be. So like we were saying, Afrikaans, sonder enige tierlantijntjies. That's I think some people will enjoy that. It's Afrikaans saying that means with not a lot of frills. It was just good old rugby and really good mates, having a beer, having a couple, play a bit of golf, staying in the best hotels, playing golf at oh man, it's St Andrews. It was incredible. It was really good to do.
Now the Barbarians are just the Barbarians are just quite an amazing feature of rugby, that they still exist and it continues, and also I guess because of the history, the tradition, they can get big names. Big names will come and play, and so it's never boring. For me, it's always weird because of course I'm rooting for the Springbok players, and but then like they're playing with All Blacks. I'm like, no, don't offload to him. I don't want him to score. I want the Barbarians to score, but I don't want that guy to score. You know, Dan Carter doesn't need any more points. Damn it. Yikes! But let me get to some of the comments here very quickly because there's some good stuff coming in. People are saying things, but before I do that, excuse me a little. There. Folks, you're listening to Chris Wyatt Africa on the Indaba Africa channel on a Sunday afternoon, and it's the 18th of October. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate a good-sized audience tuning in right now. My special feature guest today is Springbok number 671, Braam van Straaten, who is was a coach with the Southern Kings. Unfortunately, the franchise just was liquidated. It's no longer existing after 11 years. I don't want to say tumultuous, but an interesting history. They gave it a good go and didn't get all the support they needed. And anyway, didn't always... anyway, they're gone now, and he's started a charity to or a private organization to raise some funds for the staff and the players who were left high and dry when they went out of business. So they didn't get salaries, and so he started this thing called Care for Kings. We'll get back to that in a little bit, but let me get to some of the comments here really quickly, Brahm. There was somebody said, Murray Annandale said, now I don't know if Murray Annandale ran into you at the Rugby World Cup in 2003, because I don't think you were playing for the Box then, but he said, I've aged a lot myself, no worries. Just the last time I saw this oak was at the 2003 Rugby World Cup. I don't know if you ran into somebody, if you went to that. Murray Annandale, maybe somebody you know.
Chris, I think she got it wrong, because in 2003 I missed out on the World Cup, and I was then already in Leeds playing for Leeds Stikes with Phil Davis.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so I never. That's the one thing that I probably lingered for, was to play in a World Cup. Never got the opportunity. Was supposed to go in '99. Had an incredible Super Rugby, played really well. But then Jannie de Beer went, and you know what happened then. He was just amazing. He was so good. He played so well for the Box, and nearly got us to the final, which was incredible.
Well, listen, I tell you, the one thing that we need to correct is this every 12-year nonsense. Enough of that. We need to run it 2023 in France, not wait another 12 years, because I can't wait 12 more years for another William Webb Ellis Trophy. I'm greedy. The All Blacks got 2 in a row. It's our turn to get 2 in a row. But
that's brilliant. No, I think everybody feels that way. Eh?
Okay. Well, the Rhodesians never die. That's Lynn says that Brahm is such a happy guy. So refreshing to hear and see. I think it's a great comment, because so many less than happy things have been happening of late. And so it's nice to see somebody who's got a zest for life. So that was a nice comment. And then, okay, now this one here, Christian Kriel says, please send my regards to Brahm. We studied together and stayed in the same hostel. Christian Kriel.
Wow. That is amazing. Christian, how you doing? Goodness me, that's been some time, eh? Thinking back when I was studying teaching, that was in 1990 till 1994 or 93. So it's incredible. I'm just getting, and that was also an incredible time of my life, where there's you just got all the shackles off, being a student, having some fun. What a place it was, NKP, the Normal College Pretoria, as they say. It was an incredible place. Now, really awesome. Please give him thumbs up. It was I still remember him. Fantastic.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Look, it's old home week here. I wasn't expecting that on the channel today. That's pretty cool. But you never know. You never know in Chris Wyatt Africa who's going to call in. I have viewers all over the world, and I don't know where Christian's at, if he's in South Africa or elsewhere, but that's pretty cool. But now, listen, Wonder Boom and the normal school, I'm sensing a very strong, Pretoria link here.
Yeah, no, I grew up in Pretoria, and then was born there as well. Then went for 5 years, went to Rustenburg, because my father had an opportunity to be my grandfather was the headmaster at school, at a school there. So my father went there, and I went there with them, and then we came back to Pretoria. And then I was in Mabel Laerskool from grade 3 till then I went to Wonderboom Hoërskool, and then from there, played a bit of rugby, played a bit of Craven Week, which was fantastic, and then went to Enkapia. Enkapia was an incredible place. Yes, some really incredible people that crossed my path there. Some people that taught me a lot about life. That gave me the opportunity to play rugby and cricket. One of my mentors there was Phil Pretorius. What an incredible guy. We had a long relationship. He gave me the opportunity as a very young guy to play cricket and rugby for NKP, which was fantastic. So I think as a student, I had an incredible time. Study was part of it, but the sport just was
come on. Be honest. Study wasn't a very big part of it at all.
Chris, what is incredible, there was some girls, and I'll have to have Runel, and if she's listening or something, she was unbelievable. She did all our work for us. She gave it. So when we wrote the test on Wednesday morning, she on Thursday night she brought all the stuff to me and say, make sure you learn, make sure you get through this, because and that's how I passed. So it was I was a little bit naughty, but it was good fun.
Well, we won't linger on that part of the history. Ginaldo Rose said, no way, Brahm. I also went to Mayville Leo School. Yeah,
Mayville is it was a very good school. Man, we had some incredible teachers. I remember back, the other guy that was probably one of my mentors that taught me to be really tough was Mr. Patrick de Wet. And Patrick de Wet was a very special guy. Oh man, he taught us, he put a steeple of tires one on top of the other, and you had to really smash it and tackle them. And that's the way we grew up. So yeah, I just those memories of being part of a really good group of guys in the moot, as they say in Pretoria. It was really special. Looking back at those times, I was there actually. I'm sitting here now down south, but I was back there yesterday because I went up for the Tox and Chops show, and I'd stayed a day to visit my brother, who still stays in the house that we stayed in as youngsters, and then my sister, who stays in Pretoria as well, just went up and to say hi and spend a bit of time with them, which was fantastic.
Wow, that's the people are loving you in the chat here, Brahm. This is embarrassing. There's a lot of affection for you. So let me just a couple more comments there. You must be quite the good oak there. So I have to thank Hank, because Hank is the one that reached out to you and asked you to come on the channel, and also helped make sure we got connected today, because we had a little communication issue there. But Hank said, who would you pick at number 10 and number 15 for the Springboks today in their current form? That's a good question. I'm not available, by the way, and I usually wear number 11, so I'm just saying.
Yep. With that being done, I think for me at the moment, the guy in the seat with Andre Pollard having that ACL reconstruction at the moment is definitely Elton Jantjies. Elton playing in a very young Lions side, nearly got one over the Stormers over the weekend. He played really well. He's just such a calm and collective player. I think he will go a long way at the moment. At fullback, it's quite a difficult one. There was another youngster that I thought that would come through, but he also had an injury. He was Apalile Fassi. I love that boy. He's such an incredible talent. Not scared of anything. Apart from him, I tend to go for Cheslin Colby. I know Cheslin is really good on the wing, but I think that'll give him a bit more opportunities to be a first receiver and put some defenses close to the ruck in trouble, because he's got such incredible way he moves. He just looks so effortless, but so powerful on his feet for a small guy.
Oh, he is just unbelievable. I was in Japan and I was stoked. I went to every Springbok game. That was the first time I was able to capture all four of the pool stages. It was I always just go for the pool, because you see so many countries, so many different teams. I can watch the other stuff on TV and listen to the commentary, unless I happen to be somewhere I can be in the final. But that, But so Japan, I was there. I had supposed to have 18 games, and then the typhoon hit, Typhoon Hagibis, and one of my games was canceled. That was Italy against the All Blacks, and of course the Sergio Parisi was very angry because he said they were going to beat the All Blacks. I'm like, okay, well, he needs a urinalysis because he's smoking something.
And something strong as well.
Oh, something quite strong, yeah. Now, listen, Brahm, okay, you seem like a good guy, so I'll share this with you. I don't think a lot of people know this, but they do know I have a 2019 Springboks jersey, and it's personalized. It has my name and number on the back, and that's because it's a little-known secret, but I was in the running, but the problem was I couldn't prove my residency, so Rossi couldn't pick me. He had to pick Makazole and Pipi, so I wasn't able to play for the Springboks in the 2019 World Cup. And it worked out well because he scored the first ever finals try, I think, for the Springboks, so that's pretty cool. So I think Rossi made the right selection this time around.
No, definitely. I think Makazole, I coached when I was at the Sharks. I coached him. What an incredible individual. Coming from the Eastern Cape as a young boy, being able to play in the World Cup final and score the first try was amazing. And then, like I said, the guys like Lucanio as well, incredible guys. Yeah. So, I've been very fortunate in my career as a coach. I first started as an international rugby academy coach, and then as a kicking coach, was lucky enough to go with Australia to the 2011 World Cup, and it was quite sad when South Africa lost against Australia, because I was then the kicking coach with James O'Connor, Kurtley Beale, and Quade Cooper. So, yeah, it was just one of those things. But Robbie Deans gave me the opportunity to work with them, and it was a really fun time. Really fun time to travel the world and work with these talented youngsters.
So you were at the Wallabies in 2011, then in New Zealand. I was in Wellington, in the stands for the USA and the Wallabies game. And as I recall, we were in it for like 15 minutes. That was it. It ended pretty quickly after that. But we only scored 5 points, I think, just a single try, if I recall correctly. But we were in it. And I was standing next, I was at the time Lieutenant Colonel in the Army, and I was next to this couple, and they were from Australia, of course. We were chatting. And it turns out they were both in the Australian Air Force. So we kind of hung out that night. And the one guy told me, he said, yeah, I know a guy on the American team. If you want to hang out and meet the team at the hotel tonight. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So we walked back to town and found a pub, and it was crazy chaos in the pub, had a few beers, and he kept saying he was going to link up, and he's like, oh, I'm getting in touch with him. He's not responding to my text. So finally I'm like, okay, guys, have a good night. I'll catch you later. And I started to walk back to the hotel, and he goes, oh, wait, he just sent me a text. Come on, let's go to the hotel. So we went to the hotel, and I'm thinking the whole time, how does this Australian know an American on the American national side? Turns out he did. It was a kid with and one Australian parent, one American parent, who was playing for the USA because he couldn't make it on the Wallabies, I guess. And so he'd actually been like the captain that night because Todd Clever was held back. They wanted to save him for the Italy game, hoping we could win against Italy, which we didn't. And Nelson, we didn't win that game. So I was in the stands when you were on the side of the pitch that day. That was an interesting game.
Yeah, it was. It was man. I tell you now, just the hype of the World Cup, and again in New Zealand, where I believe. A World Cup in New Zealand, the people are so they know the game so well, man. They're so knowledgeable about the game, and that's what I love. Everywhere that you go, in little pubs, in little shops, everybody's living rugby as their life, which is well, infectious. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
No, I would have to say that of all the World Cups I've been to, that was the best hosted one. All the volunteers were so informative. They're so helpful. Those are with all the teal jackets on. I didn't have tickets when I got to New Zealand. I was able to get tickets and book everything out, and I wound up going to 8 games mostly on the North Island, but one on the South Island. I went skiing when I was there, down on the volcanoes, and I went to Rotorua for the hot springs and all that stuff. And when I was in Rotorua, I walk out of my hotel, and there's kids playing rugby. In the middle of the World Cup, they're just out there playing rugby because that's what they do. It was brilliant. They really know how to handle it. The only disappointing thing about that World Cup was the final, which was like. Yeah, between France and New Zealand, that was very boring final.
It was interesting. I remember that final as yesterday because it was quite interesting. France actually was pitched up for that game, and what a great story of Leon MacDonald that was fishing somewhere in New Zealand down a stream, and he got the call up, and he was the guy that kicked the goal to win the World Cup. What an incredible story! I always said. Those are the things I was born for, and those moments are in life where you have to kick this goal to win a test match or a game, and it is such a special thing. So for him, Leon MacDonald, that tag will always hang around his neck. The World Cup winner that kicked the final or kicked the goal to win it.
Yeah, and finally took the All Blacks out off of a long drought. They're supposed to be the best team in the world, and it'd been a long time since the beginning since they won the thing. Derek says, Brahm, we're missing you at the Sharks. So there's a little bit of love from a Sharks fan.
It's incredible. Like I said, I really enjoyed my time in Durban. What an incredible crowd, knowledgeable. But what was really nice about it was the players. Me and the players got along very, very, very well. And I'm still in contact with a number of them. Some really good boys there that I saw grow immensely in the 2 years that I was there, and it was all together with like I said, the work. I pride myself on my work ethic, and I think that's the one thing that they liked that was really good on my side.
No, it's pretty awesome. Now, when you were there, I don't recall when you were there. Was that when Bismarck was with the team and Yanni?
No, that was a very short, probably a year or two ago, just more than a year ago. Okay. So I was there for two Super Rugbies and 2 Currie Cups. We lost in the one final, the 1 year against Province, and then the next year we won the final. We lost in Durban, and then in 2008 we won back in Cape Town, which was unbelievable. Probably the happiest I've been for a long time. I couldn't get the smile off my face for probably months.
Yeah, I remember those finals, and I wasn't happy about that other one.
sorry, I forgot, Chris.
So I'm happy you were smiling, Brahm, but I was not happy about that at all because that's when I was down in that area and I was just really bummed out. Yeah, no, it's one nice thing about living in Africa is not that DSTV is all that great, but DSTV, you got Super Sport and you can watch rugby 87 hours a day. I know there aren't 87 hours in a day, but you can watch rugby. Here in the States, it becomes a lot more challenging to get rugby. In Europe, not so bad because Europeans have rugby, but it's a little harder to get Curry Cup. I can't get Curry Cup at all now, and Super Rugby is hit and miss, and so of course it's hit and miss because of Corona. But Super Rugby or not Super Rugby, Curry Cup. I've been very critical of South Africa's fan base in my comments and the things I've written about what's going on. It's for me incredibly disappointing. Now, varsity rugby, you see huge crowds show up for varsity. People still love rugby in South Africa, and I hear lots of excuses. The ticket prices are too expensive, the politicization of the game. There are too many games. We're playing too many. There's lots of reasons people give for it, but honestly, it's very depressing to look at the Bulls playing the Stormers at Loftus, and there's like 3,500 people in the stands. I'm embellishing, but it's like 10 or 15,000. It's really sad. Do you think there's a decline in interest in rugby, or is it just maybe some of the things I talked about and some other reasons for it?
Yeah, I think there might be some other reasons for it because rugby, if you look at how the youngsters are now in South Africa, it's a massive game, especially at school level. Our school rugby is probably the best in the world. Not probably. If you go and have a look against the top schools like Grey College, Paul Roos, Paul Boys High, those guys, they go to any tournament anywhere in the world and they will beat everybody. So rugby in South Africa is very strong. They're very passionate people. And I just think there's been a decline in the viewers. I'm not sure what the reasons are, but there will definitely be reasons. It's quite interesting to see, like you said, Loftus must be full. Newlands must be full. A place like Alice Park is just so nice to play in front. I remember the good old golden days when we had the Men in Black era at the Stormers. Wow, going out there, 52,000 people screaming week in and week out for 8 weeks in a row when we played in that 99 semi-final and we lost against the Highlanders. But that was something unbelievably special, which was, I think that's what we need. And again, I really do hope when everything has settled down, the dust has settled around Corona, that the fans will come back and support the boys, because that, for us as players, that is so rewarding to be able to see the fans in the stand and just hear them shout. It gives you that little bit of a burst. It gives you that, that's the way it needs to be, like you say, Chris.
Yeah, no, and it is really weird thing to watch rugby with empty stadiums right now because we're seeing games on there, and I'm sure it's weird for the players. They mitigate a little bit, not so much rugby, but other sports. Like I think the best one was the National Hockey League here in the States. They played their hockey games, but what they did is they moved all the teams and the family and all the physios and everyone related to these two massive hotel complexes next to ice rinks up in two cities in Canada, and they kept them there for like 3 months, and that way, but had to be incredibly expensive. And that's not what I'm complimenting. But what I'm complimenting is that when you watch the games on television, the stands are empty, but they did a really good job piping in the right music, so people would be cheering at the right moment. It was all artificial, but you almost felt like there was a game there. But watching rugby, you can't get that noise. I've seen them try it with some of the is it the Pro 14 games, or maybe it was the Premier League, but It's not quite the same. You can tell it's fake, and it's a shame. And I'm sure it's difficult for the players to be playing in front of empty stadiums like that.
No, definitely. Just watching the Bledisloe Cup this morning, how incredible New Zealand. I think there was 47,000 or something people there in Auckland. And that's the way with just the buzz around it. So New Zealand that did something right. They got on top of the Corona very, very quickly, and they're reaping the rewards. I tell you now.
Well, yeah, I made not to get into politics, but I talked about that yesterday. New Zealand's been credit for being on top of it so early, but I compared actions of Trump and actions of Jacinda, and actually she trails Trump by about 2 weeks in everything she did. But one of the reasons why they're successful is they were able to shut their borders down. They're isolated, they can control it. But they have done a good job. I'm not criticizing New Zealand, but they attacked Trump, and he actually did all these things faster than her. It's funny how the press talks about stuff, but it's So I was, I wanted to say this really quickly. So listen, one of my favorite players is Mornay Sten. I've always been a big fan of Mornay Sten. I was in Bloemfontein at the Tri-Nations when he scored all the points and we beat the All Blacks back in 2009 or something like that, I think it was. And I'm like, this is awesome. But I'm also honest. In Mornay's defense was a bit suspect for a long time. He wasn't, I don't think, a complete player. At least that's my assessment. But his game improved and then he became an all-around player in my view. Now, you're also a kicker, but you're a defensive coach. I didn't get to see many of your performances, mostly on video, because I wasn't able to get many of your games back then. So I'm guessing you were a good defensive player, or you wouldn't be a defensive coach.
Yeah, I pride myself on my physicality, but because I played at centre first as a youngster, I was a very, very strong defender as a centre. And then halfway through my career, I got the opportunity to play at fly-off because our fly was injured, and shut that channel completely. And all of a sudden, if you shut that channel, the vacuuming, they're not getting over the advantage line, it becomes really difficult to play. And we had a lot of success about that, especially when I played for the Stormers. I remember me and Corne Krieger, Hendrik Gerber, those guys, David Barry, those were the guys that really shut. If you don't get any momentum, the rugby becomes a really difficult game. And like I said, I pride myself on my physicality. Even these days, I do the tackle technique and stuff with the boys, which is real fun to see their faces when they get hit. But yeah, it is for me. Like I said, I'm a really proud individual. I'm still in quite a good nick. I look after myself. I'm fit. I train quite hard. And I look after. I eat really well. So I think that it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and all of a sudden you find yourself amongst those boys, which is real fun. Real fun to see how they react when you make a shot on them.
Speaking of hitting hard, I'm going to tell you, Faf de Klerk and Cheslin Colby, pound for pound, both those guys, but especially Cheslin Colby, I would not want to run into him on the pitch because he would lay me out. Those guys, they hit like a hammer for their size.
Yeah, I think Faf is a little bit of a madman.
He's crazy. He's like Werner Koch. He's like Werner Koch. He's out of control, but that's why I love him.
And he's like a little Staffordshire terrier. He doesn't back down, which is
terrier, yeah, a little terrier.
He just loves getting stuck into the big boys. And Cheslin is he's just fearless, but he's he's technically so sound, and that's what makes him so good. With ball in hand, different kettle of fish. I tell you now, I don't want to mark him. I remember back in my days when I played for Leeds, we played against Sale. I had to mark Mr. Robinson. Oh my goodness me! He stood me up left, right, and centre. I didn't know which side he went past. Jason was just too quick, and it was fun to talk to him afterwards and just have a smile and just say that, oh, well, at least I grabbed his hand and I said to him, at least I'm touching you now because on the pitch I didn't have a chance.
Yikes, that's crazy. No, but that's rugby. I mean, it's got its moments, it's got its challenges, it's also got its amazing rewards. It's one of the reasons why I love the game so much. So a couple more comments coming in here, Braam. Somebody, I guess, was asking your full name, so they wrote it down: Abraham Johanna Jacobus van Straaten. So of course, Braam is short for Abraham. For those who didn't know that. Anyway, so
I just want to say this: my boys also Abraham Johannes Jacobus van Straaten. But that name comes from my grandfather. He was an incredible individual, my idol. Mm-hmm. I loved him to bits. He looked after me as a youngster so well. And he had a heart of gold. He was just one of those incredible nice people that wanted to make sure everybody was just all right. He wasn't worried about himself. He was just looking after everyone in the family and even extended families. The whole family so he was an incredible man. So I'm really proud wearing that big name, Abraham Johannes Jacobus van Straaten.
It's an impressive name. It rolls off the tongue. It's quite impressive, but it's awesome that you honor your grandfather that way. That's really awesome, and you've carried it down to your son. That's pretty cool. Now Hank, who helped us get you on the channel, said except for Butch and Hannibal, Braam was a Big Ten defense player. Sorry, Butch didn't tackle.
Butchie was he was a madman as well. I just laughed at him because he was him and Flicky was maybe on par with the coat hangers. But Butchie was just tough as nails. He hasn't got knees anymore, but he was a tough man. You thought twice when you were running in that channel, looking out for some knocks, but he was a tough man. It was good fun playing against him, and playing with him was also good.
Now, I got two questions here, and I keep trying to find the right moment to ask them, and it hasn't quite come up at the right moment. So I'm just going to interject both of them, and then if you don't remember one, I've got it written down so we can go back to it. But the first question was, Olaf asked me to ask you if Saru looks after the old Springboks, or when you're done, there's no more benefits, you don't get anything after that. So that's the first question. Second question was from I think this has become your number one fanboy on the stream here. That's Ronaldo Rose again. It says, Brahm, what kept you grounded and level-headed, and when it's so easy to become self-centered professional sport? I think it's a great question. And after you answer those, I'll give my thoughts on why rugby's so special. But anyway, the first one's about, does Saru do anything for a Springbok once they left, or are you just on your own? And then what kept you grounded?
So the first thing is, for me, no, they don't look after you. We've got the South African rugby legends that looks after some players, and they keep them involved. But for me, that is my heart. I want to make sure with the Care for Kings, and you'll see, hopefully I don't want to jump the gun too quickly, but the Care for Kings is just the platform that we will use to be able to care for much more people within the game, not just rugby, but in any game, any sport. Because for me, what happened to us and what happened to the players can't happen again. That I will fight for that for the rest of my life. I want to make sure that we put structures in place with our unions. Pete Heymans from Sports Employees United is a very good friend of mine. We've known each other for 25 years, so he knows my heart. We want to make sure that it doesn't happen to anybody again. And Chris, so that's the first part. They're not looking after the old Springboks. You have to, and that's why I say we want to make sure that we can make sure that they are all right. If they need some medical assistance or whatever they will need throughout their career after they've played, we want to make sure that we as a community, we as businesses, we as individuals can look after those guys. Mm-hmm. What keeps me grounded, Chris? I'm a normal guy. Being a Springbok doesn't make me special. I love what I do. I really do love my family, and I want to make sure that South Africa and people feel the love. There's nothing better. I can't create anything better than hope, and that's what we're trying to create with the Care for Kings thing, is by giving my time and giving my effort, people can see that I really care about them. And that's what rugby is about. That's what our community needs to be about. That's what the world needs to be about. And that's what keeps me grounded. I'm a very level-headed guy. I don't get ahead of myself. I take every day as it comes. I work as hard as I can. And to my surprise, the last 3-4 weeks was probably the most admin I had to do ever in my life. But for a really, really good reason. And for me, it's very close to my heart, this Care for Kings. It happened abruptly, and all of a sudden, it really grows. We got unbelievable people looking after us that came to the party and assisting us, using their platforms and their time to give us the platform to get our voice out there and let people know that, you know what, if you really care, you can change the world. And that's the big thing, because you create hope where sometimes there is no hope. And with everything I do, I do believe there's a bigger hand in it that looks after us. And for me, being able to stand tall as an individual makes me really proud.
No, that's well said. You don't happen to have a desk lamp there, do you? It's starting to get dark, and I can still see you, but I think people might be having a hard time.
This light is not the greatest, but
it's okay. The orange shirt kind of helps. It makes you.
I'll sit a bit closer. Sorry, the light is just fading now quite quickly.
No, yeah. Well, it's when it's headed to. Well, it shouldn't get dark anyway. But yeah, no. Those are great answers. The thing I wanted to say is that for me, for rugby, and then but before I say that, let me say this. I think you made a very great statement there, Brahm, which I really appreciate. And you said, "I'm a Springbok. That doesn't make me special." I feel the same way. People are deferential to military here in this country, where people are very proud of our military with good reasons, and we're grateful for that. Unlike Catholic priests and members of Congress, we're pretty popular. Those two groups aren't, but we're pretty popular. But as I always tell people, the fact that I was a soldier doesn't make me special. It just means it's something I did, because people venerate people, especially sports icons, and you see, look, I like Michael Jordan. He was a great player. He was one of my favorite basketball players, but he's not a hero because he's a basketball player. He's a sports icon, and so I really appreciate that sentiment. I think you would agree with that doesn't necessarily, if you are special, Brahm, it's because of you, who you are, not because of what you're wearing or because the job you have. And so I suspect it's the reason you're special is because it's your nature, it's in your content, your character, and that's what matters. So I really appreciate that sentiment. The other thing I want to say, you're most welcome. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. But the other thing I want to say is that the thing about rugby that's always struck me, and the reason I like it so much, is that anybody can play. And there's all kinds of versions of the game. Even wheelchair rugby is around now, things like that. So all kinds of people can play. Guys, gals, it doesn't matter. And you can go to a rugby match and you can watch your team get slaughtered 67 to 0. And when the game is over, people hang out in touch. They maybe they have a braai, maybe they have a beer. And the fact that you just got slaughtered doesn't matter. You hang out with the people that just defeated you. You make friends with them. You have a good time. And then when you go to any, even professional rugby games to this day, and you try to get the attention of the players, most players come over, they'll sign autographs, they'll talk to people, they'll grant interviews. Perry Baker, unbelievable sevens player. The guy is so personable. Madison Hughes the same way. All of the USA sevens players, Werner Koch from the Springbok, Sebatla Sanatla, all these guys are very personable. And it's the same in 15s. Now, my disappointment is I was talking yesterday, who was I talking to? Oh, I was talking to Jeremy Null from German Warfare. He was my guest yesterday. He had Brian Habana on this week, and I said, look, you got to hook me up because I have spent the entire past decade traveling around the world and just missing Brian Habana by 2 minutes or less everywhere I've been. Everywhere I've been, he was there 90 seconds before me or 2 minutes after me, and I'm getting tired of it. I want to get him on my show. So, but the point is that I know that he would come on, he would talk, he would be fantastic. Rugby is a family, and it's approachable. The players are approachable. I think that's the thing I love about it.
Yeah, Chris, I want to tell you this special story. I was playing for Leeds, and we played a really good game. We won the game, and sometimes after the game you come out, you do a bit of signatures, and you stand around, you talk to people. And there was two individuals, a man and a woman. I can't remember their name off the top of my head now, but I stood there as a South African. My wife and them were back in South Africa, but my boy had a little operation on his throat that got septic, and sent him back home because my father-in-law is a doctor. So I was there on my own, standing around, talking to all the crowd, and these two guys, these two people, we talked for around about half an hour to 45 minutes, just standing around because I didn't want to go home to an empty house. And what was interesting is they were people that was living in the UK and went back and forth. They stayed 6 months in South Africa, 6 months in the UK, and they were very wealthy people, and I didn't know that at all. And he said to me, I met him again in Cape Town, and he was always busy with race horses and stuff like that, and he called one of his race horses Braam van Straaten. And I went to the race course and watched Braam van Straaten run, and that day Braam van Straaten won the race as well. So it was such a special thing. Like you say, I never knew that, but just standing around, just being able to share your thoughts, standing with people, because like I said, we're not special. We're normal human beings, and people needs to approach us that way as well, which is incredible. But that was a really special story that I will remember for the rest of my life.
No, that's brilliant. And the horse was named, and the horse won that day. That's even better. Did you put a $5 down on the horse?
No, actually, he put I think he put 100 Rand on, and I'm not sure how much I won, but he put 100 Rand on and gave me the ticket as well. So, what an incredible guy it was. And my family went with me. So my daughter was very little at that stage, but she absolutely fell in love with the horses. We actually, at a certain stage, they wanted to pull Braam van Straaten off the track because he had one or two issues, and I wanted to buy the horse. So I said to them, "Can I buy Braam van Straaten?" And he said to me, "It's actually quite sad because he had quite a bad disease or cancer or something, and they had to put him down, which was quite sad."
Shame. Horses are amazing. I was a farmer in my youth, a dairy farmer, but we had horses, I used to horseback ride, train horses, and of course use them on the farm for that sort of stuff. Go round the cows up, that sort of thing, because they disappear in the pasture. But horses are pretty amazing. Folks, you're listening to Chris Wyatt Africa on the Indaba Africa channel on a Sunday, the 18th of October, 2020. My special featured guest today so far has been the former Springbok number 671 Southern Kings rugby coach and coach for many different franchises, played all over the world, Sale Sharks, played for Leeds, played for Western Province, played for everybody. He's been everywhere. And my special featured guest today is Braam from Straaten, who's been with us here for an hour. And if he can indulge us a little bit longer, a couple more comments, a few more questions. Are you okay, Braam?
You're more than welcome.
All right, brilliant. So there's first off, let me address this one. Rudolph Kitching says, Chris, what do you look like under that beard? Any photos? Well, yeah, I'm a public figure. Just do a search for me. You'll find photos of me, or go to the link for my LinkedIn page, which is down below there. And by the way, this isn't a 30-year beard. This is like a 7-month beard. I just started growing this a few months ago. But if you're curious what I look like under the beard, Rudolph, devastatingly handsome. I think that's the best description for it. So just, I'd be totally modest and share that it's devastatingly handsome under the beard. So I'm just saying. But this is because I'm hoping to become a lock, for the Springboks, and I noticed locks like to have big beards, so I figure this might help sell the part. And then actually, it's a lockdown beard, Braam. I started growing it, and I said I'll cut it when lockdown ends. I think it'll be on for a while. But Ronald Guns, it suits me. Is that what you said?
Nicely, Chris. You look like Santa Claus.
Well, people keep saying that, but I thought I looked like Pete Retief, but I'm hoping I meet a better end than Pete Retief had. And then for a while, I thought it looked like Paul Kruger, but his was a lot shorter, so it can't be him. And now I think it looks a lot like the abolitionist here in America, John Brown, the one that raided Harper's Ferry. And anyway, he was in Kansas during the wars. But Ronald Gunn says, does Brahm envision getting involved with any other teams coaching in the future? I imagine you're probably looking for employment if you haven't already secured it.
Yeah, I've coming from a teaching background in South Africa. Like I said, the school rugby, schoolboy rugby is big. There's a couple of posts going open now, director of rugby's that I might apply for. I just firstly want to make sure that I don't just take the first job. I want to make sure that I take the right job. So I'm at the moment, like I say, I'm very busy with the Care for Kings, and that's going to keep me busy for a bit of time. But for me, it's my passion, it's my life, it's who I am. So I'm definitely looking forward to the next chapter in my life, and hopefully it's a big one. I'm really proud. Like I said, I'm proud of myself and my work ethic, and I'm a student of the game. And yeah, hopefully there's something bigger for me somewhere out there, and it will be fantastic. Like I said, it is who I am, and I'm not going to change. I'm not going to walk away from it because I'm grounded in it. So it's fantastic. Yeah. Hopefully something comes up.
Now, well, speaking of something coming up, but are you involved this year with the Bermuda 10s? I think you're going to be involved with that.
Yeah, Chris, what's quite interesting, I heard 2 days ago that I need to take a couple of guys, and some of the one of the teams withdrew from the Bermuda 10s, and Dickie Meir, who's the ex-Springbok assistant coach, said to me, there's an opportunity for these guys to go and earn a bit of money in Bermuda. I said, okay, perfect. I'll put my hand up. I'll organize everything. I'll run this, and I'll be the coach of the guys. So we're taking 14 guys that has been in South Africa, that has been affected by what has happened at the Kings, to Bermuda. We meet up with another 6 guys there, and we'll have some fun in Bermuda. But at least we can give these guys a little bit of, just get them away from their circumstances in South Africa, give them a bit of fun, and make sure that they earn a bit of money, so to keep them ticking over for the next couple of months.
And so when's this taking place, so people can try to keep up with it?
Yeah, it starts on October the 23rd, so that's on next Friday. I'm still back here at home, and I'm still putting everything together. And we'll finish on, I think this is the finals on the 7th of November, and then we'll fly back on the 8th and the 9th.
In Bermuda. Maybe we could get you to come back on and tell us how it's going to Bermuda.
Oh, definitely. I've been there 3 times with the Legends World Cup. What an incredible place! Incredible people. I loved my time. The 1 year I actually was so lucky to take my wife on a little holiday there as well. So the people of Bermuda are just fantastic. I think what they do for the game is fantastic, and hopefully it may continue for a while.
Now, what I offer up to you, not offer you employment because I don't run any rugby franchises, but what I suggest is I don't close any venues or doors to Major League Rugby. I don't know if you're keeping up, but we have professional rugby here in the States now. We're in our third season. We're going to have about 15 franchises when it restarts in 2021, and a lot of rugby players from South Africa have come over here. Joe Peterson's been playing for San Diego for a couple of years, doing a bang-up job out there. Tendai Mtawarira played for Washington, D.C. this year. Excuse me. My favorite franchise for the Major League Rugby has been the Rugby United New York. Ben Foden from England plays on there. Bostero from France came over and played this year. Cathal Marsh from Ireland, and a lot of American players who are top players too. So that league was doing well before Corona. Hopefully it survives, and it's got a lot of television contracts, which of course is where the money comes from, the big money. So I'm not saying you have to move to the States, but don't close any doors. You might consider a coaching opportunity here if it comes up.
I won't close any doors. I tell you now, Chris, I've been to New York a couple of times. Been to Times Square. What an incredible place. I really loved Central Park. Walking around there is just amazing. So yeah, I definitely one day. That's probably one of the ones that's still on the bucket list. I want to coach in somewhere in America. Doesn't matter where it is. I'll definitely look into that in the near future.
Well, we were happy with John Mitchell, but not thrilled because he didn't really stay here. He flew over from South Africa, but he did give us a winning team, 9 wins, 8 losses. So that was a nice change of pace for the Eagles. But we love Gary Gold. Oh, we love Gary Gold. He's turned the franchise around, not the franchise, but the Eagles around, done a brilliant job with it. But Major League Rugby is fantastic, and maybe there's an opportunity for you there, so it'd be awesome. Man, people are the love just keeps coming, Brahm. This is some really nice stuff here. People are really thank you for the stream, especially given all the nonsense that's been happening of late. It's nice to have just a Leka conversation like this. So people are really grateful for that. As am I. Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but
it's all right.
Gary Gold, I've known him for a very long time. I've just on LinkedIn as well. He came and said, "I want to give you a jersey, a Springbok jersey, because he was a Springbok assistant coach." Springbok jersey, and the game they played in the Aviva Stadium against Ireland, he will donate that jersey that's been signed by the whole squad for our next auction at our Gala Golf Day. So Gary has been a very good friend of mine for a very long time. When I started playing professionally, he was my agent as well. So we've been in conversation for a very long time, and he's a really good man. So I'm very happy for what he has done to USA Rugby, and may it long continue.
No, absolutely, and I'm thrilled. Well, so now I'm going to try to leverage the fact that I've known and met you to get Gary Gold on the channel. I wasn't exercising my U.S. rugby links, but maybe I'll do that to get him on. And I'm going to push Jeremy Nell to get Brian Habana on the channel as well. But and Vlok Cilliers promised he'd help me get Mornay Sten. So we'll see if everybody comes through. I'm not putting you on the spot, but just saying. Well, listen, I could probably go on forever asking you questions, but let me ask this question and then give you a chance to give anything you'd like to wrap up with there. But the question I want to ask you now is, okay, so we've had the auction on the 16th and the 17th. It sounds like it went very well. And there's another auction coming up. Can you tell us the dates? And there was a mention of wine, which I think a lot of people in my audience will pay attention for, wine. But now you've got this jersey that Gary's going to donate. So tell us a little bit about the upcoming auction and how we can find it so people can check it out.
Yeah, so it will definitely be the same link. There will be www.careforkings.co.za, where the wine auction will happen. It will happen in 3 weeks' time. We wanted to do it as close to the memorabilia auction, but it is a little bit of, because the wine is quite difficult. We can't transport the wine all over South Africa. We don't want the bottles to break. So we just finalizing all the pictures that needs to go onto the auction table. And all of a sudden, yeah, that will be in 3 weeks' time. And then on the 26th of November, we've got our gala dinner. What has been fantastic, the guys from Mantis Group down between Port Elizabeth and East London, at the Fish River Sun. A very good friend of us, Ashley Palm, has given us the golf course for free, given us the accommodation for free, the food for free. As a really good friend of us, he said, we need to jump in. We need to make sure that we look after these guys. And hopefully with that gala dinner, the golf day, and also the auction that will be held there, we can turn over quite a bit of money, probably go close to R500,000. So that's fantastic. I tell you now, like I said, the people that are helping, the people that are jump on board, the people that are giving us their platforms to get our voice out there and create an awareness about what has happened is unbelievable. I'm lost for words. I'm humbled by the help that we're getting. So yeah, Chris, we are very, very happy at this stage.
Well, listen, Brahm, it's wonderful that you feel humbled. I know the feeling. I've been there myself when people just the outpouring of support. But listen, you stepped forward and you did something that I think a lot of people are going to really appreciate. Not just the staff and players who will benefit from this in some way, but also people realizing that rugby is a family, it's a community, and it's important to help out people in the family when things go bad. Hopefully something like this that happened to the Kings and kind of the Cheetahs haven't folded, but they're not in Pro 14 anymore. But what's happened to these clubs will never happen again. We don't want to see that happen. But thank you so much for what you've done. It's really incredible. It's been a pleasure to make your acquaintance on here. I don't know if I can call you a friend or a mate, but it'd be awesome if I could at some point. You're a wonderful oak.
No, definitely, Chris. Thank you for the opportunity. You're a warm-hearted guy, and those are the people that attracts me as well. So thank you for the talk. It wasn't an interview or anything. It was just a nice talk between two gentlemen, and with some other people filtering in with some questions, which is fantastic. No, it was really, really awesome. So anytime, any day, you're more than welcome to do it again. Look after yourself there in the States. God bless and may you, as an individual, changes people's thoughts and the way you conduct yourself as well. But thanks for the opportunity to talk to you and be on your channel.
No, it's brilliant. Thank you so much. If you have a couple minutes to hang around after I put you in the waiting room, so I can close out the stream and just talk to you afterwards, can you do that? And you'll be able
I can do that. No problem.
You'll be able to hear me, but just hang around. So I appreciate it. I'm gonna put you in the waiting room now. All right, folks. That's or he's gonna put himself there. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right, he's in the waiting room. Oh, now I got to fix the screen because it's all messed up. Here we go, folks. All right, come on. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in for what was, I think, an incredible conversation. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Braam from Straaten, fantastic conversation. We talked all kinds of things about him playing for the Barbarians, the Babas, his coaching career, his rugby career, Care for Kings, a wonderful activity to help out staff and players from the Southern Kings, the liquidated Super Rugby and Currie Cup franchise, unfortunately. But thank you so much to my guest, and thank you for all those who tuned in. It's fantastic. I really appreciate it. Just as a reminder, folks, I'll be back on twice more today. Yeah, that's right. It's not over. I'll be back on at 9:35 in Botswana and South Africa this evening, and my guest will be Hein Marks from the ULA, United Liberty Alliance from the Western Cape, one of the groups seeking Western Cape secession from South Africa. But that won't be the topic, folks. Hein Marks was present in Senegal on Friday, the 16th of October, and there's a lot of dispute and disunity and stuff going on, and I asked him to come on because I know Hein, and he was present. I saw him speaking, and so I want him to come on to try to give us his perspective as to what he saw happening there with Isaac van Zyl and himself and others, and some discussion with Willem Petze and others. So I just, if you want to tune in for that, it may be a hot conversation, and I suspect a lot of people will be tuning in for it just because there's a lot of angst and anger over what happened or didn't happen in Senegal. But please tune in for that. I'm not interviewing any EFF members, but I will be interviewing Hein Marks. And then later tonight, for folks in South Africa, it's probably a bit late for you guys there in Africa, in Botswana, Malawi, and Namibia. But I will be interviewing Earl Webber. He's a Jamaican immigrant to the United States and a candidate for California's 37th Congressional District, a Republican conservative who's running for office. He was scheduled to come on in 12 minutes from now, but he's currently doing a rally in California for the Republican Party to get people out to vote. So he'll be on tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here, 3 a.m. in South Africa. But there are some night owls who'll be up, so please tune in for that. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this stream. Thank you so much. Bye dankie. Kia lebo. I really appreciate it. Merci mille fois. Vielen Dank. I'm really grateful that everybody tuned in for this. This was I really enjoyed this one a lot. Let's see who else we can get on from the rugby world. I've got some Rugby United New York execs supposed to be coming on soon, so we'll see how that goes. And I'm going to go ahead and close it out now, and I will catch you all in about an hour, 1:32, a little over 2 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, thanks.